現代な夢の後の何もない世の中じゃそうさ愛しい思いも負けそうになるけど
Hello everyone, and this is our 6th part of the Digimon Adventure Novel English translation reading. This time we'll be reading parts 4 and 5, which is the end of chapter 2 of book 1. Part 4, Chosen Children. This machine is the Holy Device. It is often called the Digivice. Koshiro spoke as he held out the blue device in his hand. The group was sitting around Leomon in the grasslands. Their Digimon had also returned to normal size. We were lost in an underground maze and discovered that it had wall paintings that spoke of a legend passed down from ancient times. Within its deepest depths was a large relief of this very machine. Apparently, it's a highly important object on this island. The Digimon that was defending that maze, LostinTranslationmon, told us about it. The truth of the matter was LostinTranslationmon had been controlled by a black gear, and it hadn't been easy bringing him back to normal so that they could get this information. But Koshiro did not mention that for now. There was no doubt in his mind that Taichi and the others had experienced the same troubles. LostinTranslationmon, has he been doing well? Leomon's normal voice was deeply calm and composed. It wasn't that they were similar, but for some reason, Takeru thought of his father when he heard that voice. I'm just going to pause for a second. I love that little bit there because in the original Japanese version, they have the same voice, I'm pretty sure, so that's a cute little bit right there. Yamato, on the other hand, was actually living with their father, and even he could not say that the impression was completely wrong. Koshiro continued, "Yes, he told us this Digivice is something that the chosen children have." Those were the exact words that Leomon said when he'd first attacked them. This world, LostinTranslationmon called it the digital world, and apparently, if this world is plunged into danger that the Digimon themselves cannot handle, the chosen children who have these Digivices will save it for them. "Yes, that is how the legend goes," Leomon said, picking up the story. "The powers of darkness are increasing. Rumours had begun to spread among the Digimon recently that the powers protecting this world have been weakening, and that the chosen children would finally arrive to save it. 7 days ago, a new rumour sprang up that someone had seen something bright falling from the heavens and that it was the chosen children. However, at the same time, this was when all the black gears began to fly. The gears drove the Digimon mad, ate into the earth, and emitted evil energy. When I discovered they were coming from Infinity Mountain, I went there to put a stop to it." Leomon's expression hardened. "It was along the way that I met Ogumon. He is the green Digimon. The children learned of the green demon's name for the first time. For reasons that I am unaware of, he regards me as his mortal enemy. He interrupted my ascent up the mountain and challenged me to a final battle. I would never lose to the likes of him, but at that time, he was already taken by the powers of darkness. While Ogumon distracted my attention, Devimon appeared unexpectedly. That was the name of the Digimon who looked like a demon. He buried a black gear inside of me and used me as his puppet. When he ordered me to attack you on Infinity Mountain, it was to test how strong all of your Digimon had become. The rest of the tale, you know." Devimon used his evil powers to place traps around the ruins of the mansion and waited for the children to fall asleep. If Ogumon hadn't felt an urge to go to the bathroom at that time, they might have fallen into an eternal slumber. A collective shiver ran down the children's spines at that thought. If Taichi's Digivice hadn't released its light on Leomon and driven the black gear out of him, they would have undoubtedly met a similar fate. His senses returned to him. Leomon's attack at Devimon made the evil Digimon lose control over the beds. When he became a shield for the children, so they could make a safe escape, he ended up with another gear buried into him. "Thank you, Leomon. We were all saved because of you." Taichi felt he couldn't let slip by the opportunity to finally express his gratitude. Yamato and the others couldn't have heard him as they flew through the air, but after that time, after throwing Taichi and Agumon onto the bed, Leomon had gazed at them as they fell from that low height and had said, "If the fates allow it, let us meet again." Surely Leomon had been prepared to die back then. "You are our hope, chosen children," Leomon continued. "You are the only ones who can defeat the powers of darkness." "Chosen children," Taichi murmured. He saw that the rest of the children were just as troubled as he was, even after Leomon's words. "The digivices that you are holding are more than enough proof that you are the children. That also goes the same for your Digimon partners." Leomon went on to explain that when a normal Digimon evolved, they did not return to their previous level. Agumon and the others evolved to protect their partners and return to their normal size. This was a special trait. The chosen children have the power to make their Digimon evolve. "But must we risk ourselves to beat Devimon?" Mimi asked. "Is there no other option?" "That is your mission. The mission of the chosen children," Leomon answered, a difficult look flitting through his eyes. "But if you complete it, you may be able to return to your world." "That's right," Koshiro said as a memory struck him. "The engravings on the wall when we were in the cave, they mentioned that when the chosen children drive away the darkness, they will no longer be necessary in this world." "I guess we have no other choice then," Yamato said, his head bowed in thought. "But we should look for Joe and Sora first. We'll need everyone if we want to beat that guy, at any rate." "I understand that you are worried about your comrades, but it appears we're running out of time," Leomon said as he pointed above them. Black gears were whizzing about in the sky that was approaching twilight. It was not one, but many, a multitude all of them heading towards Infinity Mountain. He must be gathering up the evil powers. Those gears suck dry the energy from the lands and change it into the powers of darkness. Why was it then that Devimon had laid so many elaborate traps to kill the children? Why the necessity of using Leomon and Agumon? The answer to that must be because he was afraid of the power that the 6 Digimon and children had when they evolved. Devimon himself may not have a very strong offense, but if he was gathering up the powers of darkness, that could only mean that he's trying to obtain more power. If they didn't beat him now, before he could accomplish that, they may never be able to stop him. "Let's do it, guys," Taichi said as he stood up. He turned to face Infinity Mountain. "We can't go back home until we beat him. Even if we stay out of harm's way, we'll only end up being chased down." Part 5. Light and Dark. With Leomon in the lead, the children headed towards the mountain. Yamato really wished to leave Takaru in the village, but there was the danger that his little brother would be attacked if he was left alone. "Besides," Leomon told them, as he thought back on while he was controlled by the black gear, "I remember being persistently ordered to kill the smallest child. I'm not sure of the reason behind that." They could see an unfamiliar structure on top of Infinity Mountain. It was a stone building that looked like a Greek temple. Nothing like that had been there yesterday. Black gears flying through the air were sucked into the building one after another. Each time that happened, something evil expanded from within. Even the children could feel it. Dark clouds had assembled overhead before any of the children were even aware of them. 20 meters up on the edge of the road from where they had begun climbing at the foot of the mountain, the children tilted their heads back to see something suddenly glint from within the white building that contrasted so deeply against the black clouds. Look! Mimi shouted. The building began to crumble. Something appeared to be swelling from the inside until it blew away the roof of the building. What came out were a pair of bat wings. As they stretched out, the body that they were attached to rose from within. It was Devimon, but his size... Why is he so big? Mimi cried, her voice already risen in a frightened scream. "He's absorbed the powers of darkness!" Leomon snarled. "We're too late!" Devimon spread his wings and flapped them once, lazily. As he swiveled in the air, he began to descend in front of Taichi and the others. They could clearly see how big he was as he drew closer. Devimon landed on the ground below them, his full height stretching much further than the trees, and his back towering before the children. This can't be. The group became speechless. Devimon turned to face them, his enormous wings generating wing pressure that blew the children backwards until they were smacked against the mountain's surface. Fools, this place will become your graves. Devimon raised one of his enormous hands to emit a ray of darkness. It bound the children so painfully that they could not move. None of them could lift a bone in their bodies. Something shot out from the forest that stretched out behind Devimon. They were Ikakumon's horns. The rapid fire of those horns threw off their covering in midair, and the organic missiles inside flew towards Devimon. The explosions continued consecutively. "You did it, Ikakumon!" they heard Joe cry out from within the forest. Devimon stopped radiating darkness and turned. This time, fireballs fell down from the sky. They were flung from the wings of Bergemon, Sora's Digimon. "You guys! Evolve now while you still can!" Sora came racing up the mountain path. Both she and Joe had sensed where the battle was taking place and had hurried to it, arriving just in time. "All right, let's go!" Agumon stood up. The gauge of Taichi's Digivice jumped up. "Agumon evolve! Greymon!" Gabumon, Tentomon and Palmon also evolved. All of them attacked simultaneously. Fire and electricity hit Devimon, and they all thought that their prospects had turned for the better. But their attacks had no effect on Devimon due to his colossal size. "Clever of you," Devimon said with a sweep of his arm. All of their Digimon were knocked away as if they were insects that were hit by a rolled-up newspaper. "No way!" Taichi cried out. The children stared on, dumbfounded. Devimon turned his back on them again and reached into the forest to pick up Ikakumon with an outstretched hand. Ikakumon was flung upwards until he hit Bergemon in the skies. Both fell to the ground without the least resistance. Unsheathing his sword, Leomon leapt at Devimon's back to attack when all of a sudden the upper half of Ogumon's body appeared from it. "I'll be your opponent!" Ogumon sneered. He slammed his club downwards at Leomon, who was unable to change posture in mid-flight to avoid it. The lion Digimon received a direct hit and was struck towards the ground. "I was changed into black gears, and now I've become one with Master Devimon. I won't be losing to you no more." Laughing loudly in exultation, Ogumon drew back into Devimon's body again. Greymon and the others didn't give up just yet. Flying at Devimon, at his feet, hands, and shoulders, they bit into him, including Togemon, with their fangs and held on. But to Devimon, they were the size of mere toys. "You worthless maggots." Releasing darkness from his entire body, Greymon and the other Digimon were blown away. As they fell to the ground, they found they couldn't move anymore. I'm sorry, Taichi," Greymon groaned in apology. "I wanted to send Mimi back to her own world, but," Togemon said, her voice trembling with tears. The children couldn't move either. The frequent rays of darkness that had bound their bodies had left them feeling weak. Many of them felt faint, as if they would collapse into unconsciousness at any moment. They saw Devimon slowly stretch out his hand. His fingers were heading towards the boy in the rear of the group. Takaru. "The smallest child. With you gone, nothing will stand in my way," Devimon said with a malicious smirk. "Run, Takaru!" Yamato shouted, but just like him, Takaru could not move. A pumph, pumph sound could be heard hitting against the palm of Devimon's approaching hand. Patamon was still by Takaru's side, using his sole weapon, air shot. Inhaling air into his mouth, he shot it out tirelessly at high pressure. But of course, that alone wouldn't stop Devimon's hand from moving. "This isn't good enough." Patamon knew how powerless he was. Why am I the only one who can't evolve?" He couldn't stop the tears that dripped down his cheeks. Nevertheless, he didn't give up, releasing his air shot. "I have to protect Takaru! I have to! Takaru! Already, he was unable to continue shooting his air shot. Devimon's hand had formed around Takaru, getting ready to crush the boy to death in his grip. "Takaru!" Patamon flew into that hand, just before it squeezed tightly around them. By using only a mere amount of his strength, both Takaru and Patamon would be pulverized, without leaving any trace. The corners of Devimon's mouth lifted, his smile reflecting the confidence that he felt that he had won. Some change took place in that hand. Scorching pain shot through Devimon's palm so suddenly that he involuntarily unclenched his fist. Light flooded out from within, blinded by its brightness. Devimon drew back his hands to shield his eyes. The light ascended to a high place above Devimon's head, and as it lessened, one could see the shape of a man lifted by 6 outstretched wings. It made everyone think of the angel painting that hung on the wall of Devimon's mansion. It was Patamon's evolved form, Angemon, his headpiece covering over his eyes. They saw his lips speak. "Your powers of darkness have grown too great, Devimon. You must be erased from this world." Angemon knew what he had to do. Hoisting up the golden pole he had over his head, he cried, "Come to me, holy powers!" Taichi, Yamato's, and everybody's digivices shot out beams of light. That light extended until they reached Angemon's upheld staff. Light also shot from the immobile bodies of the Digimon on the ground. All of the light was absorbed by the staff. Greymon and all the others gave all their powers to Angemon and returned to their child forms. "If you do that, it will destroy you too!" Devimon had finally opened his eyes and seen what was to be done. Angemon was amassing energy so explosive that it could obliterate his own body. "But there is no other way," Angemon answered coldly. Devimon was afraid. Even before this evolution, he knew that this Digimon would be his worst enemy. That was why he had attempted to end everything before this Digimon had a chance to evolve. As if he sensed that fear, Ogamon flew out of Devimon's body and headed straight for Angemon. "I'll whoop your ass!" he crowed. Stretching his upper body, he brandished his club, and it looked as if he would hit Angemon. But when he was touched by the light of Angemon's staff as it swung, Ogamon bounced backwards as if he had been hit. The powers of darkness could not even bear to touch this holy light. The momentum threw Ogamon so far back that he flew out of Devimon's back and left a gaping hole where once his mass was. Oh no! Devimon tried to fill that hole to cover it up, but he never made it. Angemon concentrated all of the holy power within his body into his right fist and fired with one strike into that hole. Heaven's Knuckle! The golden light ripped through Devimon's chest and continued to expand until everything visible in their surroundings was filled with light. Devimon's body, which had been made up of molecules of darkness, began to cave in from the inside out. "What was the point of exhausting all your power here, Angemon? Half of Devimon's body has already disintegrated, yet he spoke as he disappeared. There are more Digimon across the sea who have far greater powers than me. You guys are all finished." With a final, uproarious laugh, which echoed ominously long after he was gone, Devimon disappeared. Angemon's body was also decaying and crumbling into particles. He looked down to gaze at Takaru, who was staring up at him, stunned. I'm sorry, Takaru." Angemon," Takaru could only whisper. "I'm sure we'll be able to meet again." Angemon smiled. "That is, if you wish for it." With those last words, he disappeared into sparkling particles. "Angemon!" Takaru screamed. After he had begun to live separately from his father and his brother, Takaru swore to himself that he never wanted to be separated from anybody ever again. But now, to be forced apart from Angemon, from Patamon like this, he had never. Takaru was unable to understand what he was thinking or what he was feeling anymore. When several white feathers dropped gently before him, they were from Angemon's wings. As they gathered into a neat pile, they turned into a round shape and became a large egg. It's a digi-egg." In his state, Takaru did not know who had spoken up. Only vaguely did he sense that his brother, Taichi, Agumon, Gabumon, and everyone else was standing around him. Patamon is starting over again as a digi-egg. If you raise him up carefully, you'll surely see each other again." Gently, Takaru embraced the egg in his arms. It was only a little while afterwards that a mysterious hologram appeared in front of the group. Within the cylinder of rainbow-coloured light stood an old man. He was the first human they'd seen upon coming to this island. "I was finally able to override the powers of darkness and contact you. You must listen very carefully to what I say now, chosen children." The old man called himself Genai. What he had to say was not very good news. The chosen children's mission did not end upon defeating Devimon. He said they must also cross the ocean to Server Continent in order to defeat the source of the evil powers that were located there. Agumon and the other Digimon needed to evolve to a higher level. In order to do that, they must search for something called crests. At that point, Static began to run through the hologram and cut him off. When they got a closer look, all they saw inside the ground was the face of something that looked like a projector. "Let's cross the ocean!" It was Takaru who spoke up first. He didn't want to lose anyone anymore. That intention was written clearly all over his face. The group had been hesitant over what to do, but his words firmed their resolve. In any case, even if they remained on this island, they wouldn't be able to return home. Leomon and the other Digimon that they had met on the island helped them make a raft that was sturdy enough to cross the waters. They made one that was more than wide enough to carry all 7 of the children and then some. Once they secured enough food, the children set sail towards the ocean and towards Server Continent. On top of that raft, the Digi-egg that Takaru held in his arm hatched. The baby Digimon that was born from it immediately cried out, "Takaru!" In the 4 corners of the world, 4 sets of light and darkness stood at odds. Those on the side of light had large beast-like shapes, while those on the side of darkness varied. There was one shaped like a large dragon, another like a mechanical dinosaur, another the size of a human adult, while yet another was as small as a child. Although their shapes were different, all of them were Digimon. News that the chosen children had left Far Island reached the dark Digimon that was shaped like a human adult. He cursed, "That wretched Devimon failed!" Yet he could not make a move. Currently, he needed all of his concentration to seal the Digimon of light that was coiled in front of him, its shining dragon-like form trapped as it squirmed unsuccessfully under his power. It would take some time before this was completed. So that was chapter 2. And as always, thank you so much to Onkei for translating the novels. We've got still a bit to go because there are 3 books and that was only chapter 2 of the first book. So still a bit to go, but hopefully everyone's enjoying listening to the translation. So the translation are linked in the description in the link dump. Our Redbubble's also linked in the description. You can get more than just shirts there too. Like, hey, what about a cool mug? It's coming up to the Christmassy season. You might have a little hot chocolate in a mug from our Redbubble store. Check it out. Contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on our website, LostinTranslationmon.com. You can follow us at TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we would appreciate if you review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or any other podcast listening service you use. And, of course, we have the website. Vote in polls, check out our release schedule, and check out our blog posts. You can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. That gets you access to a listener Discord server, but there are higher levels and more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more. And thank you to our current supporters on Patreon, Joe, Anime Guy, who's Anime Guy Kurosaki 1 on YouTube, Stephen Reeves, who is Wildwing64 on Archive Our Own, Kaidawashi, Chisai, who you can follow on Tumblr at Chisai236, Kyle, Tom, Lismet, who is Elecmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Sam, Spiral, Keith from a computer podcast on the internet, Magnus, Annabelle, Hemi, Alex, and Luke. You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal or to my Ko-fi account. So the PayPal is paypal.me/Edgemon, and the Ko-fi account is ko-fi.com/Airdra. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!